Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Power of Women episode. I am your host, Teso the Starseed, and of course, I'm joined by the delectable
Tori J.
Tori, the motherfucking boss J. Say it properly. So, on this week's episode, we are going to be diving into a topic that I love, marriage. The topic of marriage and monogamy. Is something that obviously society pushes, that we is something that everybody aspires to basically in society. I think even in the Catholic Church, it's one of the, what do you call it? 7 sacraments, and the sacraments are things that bring you closer to God. But, and I'm somebody who grew up wanting to get married. I believed in the whole notion of marriage and unionizing with a man. But the more I got on this journey and I started to research marriage, in fact, before I started to even feel, I just would see people's marriages and it wouldn't make sense to me. A lot of people are not happy in their marriages. It just seemed like an institution of suffer, particularly for women. Women in particularly, like there's so many women who suffer in marriages. And I'm just like, why do you need a paper? What's the need of this marriage? So I started researching marriage. And it turns out that even the history of marriage, love was nothing. It wasn't factored into marriage. People only started to marry for love, I think, during the 17th century or the 18th century in France to make it more appealing. Initially, it was literally just a wager, a kind of contract between a man and a woman, family alliances and ties. And the woman often had no say in the matter. And when she married the man, she became his property and became completely absorbed into him, which is why she took on his surname in the first place. Just like how the slaves, the Black slaves, would lose their traditional African names and have to bear the names of their slave masters. So obviously, knowing that, I'm just thinking to myself, why? How is marriage now being heralded as this thing that all women should do? And if we are not married, then we are less than, It's used to push the notion of monogamy as well, by the way, just to add on. This is the point of it. It's the push. And, again, I really don't feel, it's not something I used to feel, but now I do. I don't believe that human beings in general are by nature monogamous. We're not monogamous creatures. No other animals are monogamous in nature. So in order to force monogamy on us, you have to create this institution, because marriage is an institution that is governed by the government, but they try to make it religious as well. But even then, it's a man-made tradition. But so they create this institution which now pushes and enforces the concept of monogamy, which is really very unnatural for us as human beings in general, and they make out like if you are not monogamous, then you have a problem and you're going against God's will. But realistically, monogamy is also only pushed for women.
Yeah.
Men really could care less about monogamy. They don't respect the concept of monogamy. It is literally just another oppressive tool for women to control us. And that's another thing I even read, actually. I read that that they also started to do marriage because men wanted to be sure of their kids. They wanted to be sure who was their biological heirs. So they're like, okay, well, if we lock her down and she's married to us, then at least we can be sure that the kids are our biological heirs. So again, it was another construct of literally just oppression. It's not something that we used to do, and it wasn't something for our benefit. And now again, I still don't see it as something for our benefit. And I know that people love to romanticize it and say, well, if you have a good person, you have a guy, he's a nice guy, you guys get on, you're best friends, all of these different things that people say that to try and, romanticize the idea of marriage for me, and it just never works. It just doesn't. I have no aspirations to it. I just do not see the need for it. I find it to be a very oppressive institution. Even when you think about the vows that we say, it always blows my mind. Till death do us part. No, to death do we not part. Why should I stay with you for life if you're an asshole? Through better for worse, not through worse. And it just promotes the worst type of codependency. And obviously, when I say that, people are like, no, Tess, you're misunderstanding it. It's not, that's what life is about. No, it's not. You're not supposed to be so dependent on another person. Another person is not supposed to be your everything and your be all and end all in that way. You know, this is why we're social beings. Like, there's so many different human beings on this planet because we all have something to offer. So to expect that one person is going to offer you everything or expect them to, it's just such unfair and unrealistic pressure. And the pressure is oftentimes on the woman, you know?
I agree. I completely agree. You know, it's interesting because when I hear people talk about relationships and marriage today, I always hear the comparison to how they romanticize relationships from back in the day. And they go, you know, relationships back in the day were so great and they were so different. And, you know, people stuck in there and they had marriages for 50 years and 60 years. And, you know, they just have painted these pictures in our heads of people growing old together and being happy. Woman. But the reality is most women back in the day that were in these relationships for however many years, 20 plus years, so on and so forth, and had 10 kids. Yeah, they were in that relationship for their survival and for their children's survival. Right. And I saw this conversation online a few guys were having about, you know, why relationships don't last the way they used to, why they're not working out the way they used to. And this guy responded. He goes, the reason why relationships aren't working out the way they used to is because at one point women weren't allowed to work and women had to depend on your great granddaddy or your grandfather to take care of them. For over 50 years, she was sitting there being beat. Your great granddaddy had a whole nother family around the corner and she sat there and dealt with that and she had no other options. But see, now women have options. So women actually are looking for somebody that they like and enjoy and want to be with, not somebody that they have to be with.
They've been forced to be with.
And he's like, and the problem is a lot of you men, well, he said a lot of us men aren't likable. Now women have the ability to choose. Like, do I need to be with him for my survival? No. Do I like him? No. I can take care of myself. I can take care of my kids. I can do all of these things for myself. So I don't have to put up with your nonsense. So now you actually have to bring some substance to the table. And a lot of you don't have any substance to bring to the table. Like, and it's even more interesting too, because when I think about the way that we're taught to date as women, right? So I've always been somebody who idolized marriage. You know, I've always thought it was beautiful. And if in this day and age, if two people can come together and their souls connect on a real level, beautiful, because it seems very goddamn rare. But what I find is, you know, what I've been groomed to think is beautiful and what I've been groomed to look at as this ultimate goal for my life. Like, no matter what I accomplish in life, there is no accomplishment that is like that. It's like unionizing with a man. Once I don't care what, like, look at Oprah. People always asked her, when you get married?
Right.
Like, constantly. This woman over here bossing like this, like the only thing you care about is when she's getting married.
And you know what I mean? Failed as well if she doesn't get married. She's actually failed.
No. And it's interesting to me because it's like, your worth and your value lies in your relationship and your social connection to a man and how close you are to a man.
To serve
the status,
a man.
Yeah, he stamps you, he puts a status on you. And like you said, you know, you put your last names on your property. You put your name on your property the same way you put your name on your slaves, you put your name on your woman. This woman now becomes your property. It's a transference of property. That's why you ask the father for the wife, not like she has autonomy over herself. You don't ask her, you ask her father, can I have her? And then he goes, okay, fine, sign over this property to you. She'll go from my last name to your last name. And it's and this is a system that has been like this for a while. But once upon a time, it wasn't like that. Once upon a time, women had multiple husbands, which brings me into polyamory. And I want to have that discussion.
Yes.
I really want to have that discussion because I was always taught that, like, I want to be a good girl and I want to be looked at
Me
like
too.
a good girl.
I can only date one person at a time.
Yeah. When you meet a man, you've just met him. You might like him and think he's cool or whatever, but you don't want to give him the impression that you're talking to other guys, and you don't actually want to be talking to other guys. You want to let him know that you are just
because you are a good girl and you are a good
girl, and you ready to be chosen. You wifey
loyal.
material.
I'm loyal.
You loyal. Yes. Meanwhile, he is with half the world, and
unapologetically too.
Girl, free, slanging it, and it's crazy because you are committing yourself. You go and commit yourself to a man that you've just met to prove that you are the woman that he needs to choose because you want to be chosen. And you don't even know who this man really is. You don't know how he gets angry. You don't know if he knows how to communicate. You don't know if he's abusive. You don't know if he's a pervert. You don't know anything about this man. And
none of that matters as long as
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the point is you need to make sure you're doing what you need to do on your part so that you get chosen. And we do not teach women to date properly. Women need to date multiple men. Women need, and I'm not saying you need to lie either, because see, men, they do their stuff and they got to lie about it. They got to lie and manipulate you into stuff they doing.
Right.
I'm talking about you should proudly, unapologetically date multiple men. And I'm not saying go out and look for any random body to date, but it takes a guy of substance to even get my attention, right? But I need you to know that because I've met you, you do not own me and I do not belong to you. I am vetting you. I am watching you, being entertained by you. I'm enjoying your company. No more nor less, we're getting to know each other. I'm on my journey. I'm living my life and you living your life. And no, if I meet a man tonight, when I walk out this restaurant with you right now, and I'm like,
give him my motherfucking number.
Seems interesting. Yeah, girl.
Absolutely.
Man, please. We definitely exchange numbers.
Absolutely.
And I don't mind telling you either. And I'm gonna let you know that.
In fact, I will let you know. Yeah,
like, I want you to know. I want you to
ask me about yeah, of course. Like, because you don't own me.
I'm sure you are as well.
And you should be, because don't make again.
You marry their ass and they don't stop talking to other people.
I'm telling you.
So why in the hell would I stop talking to other people when we're dating? So that's a problem.
And I also find it very problematic as well. Like, I used to be big on the notion of, I'm only dating you. I'm a good girl. I was known for it. And she's so loyal. She's a good girl. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. And then I'd expect the same back from you too. And it's kind of like, that would be my love language if I was to hear that, oh my God, he's only talking to me. He's not talking to any other girl. To me, now I'm like, I beg. Don't stress me out. Go and talk to other girls. Like, I do not want to be the love of your life. And every time I say that, people are so confused. And I'm like, I don't want to be anybody's, I don't want anybody to feel like they have that I don't want anybody to have that claim over me. So I don't have that claim over anybody.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Everything that I expect for myself is what I expect from other people. So because I value my freedom so much and my ability to interact with human beings and live a free, unrestricted life, I expect that from you too.
Right.
So don't come to me, because oftentimes as well, when they come to you with that energy, they don't actually mean it. They're just pretending. They just want you. They just want to say to you, you're the only one I'm talking to and you're the love of my life, so that you can now fall.
Yeah.
And when you now fall, you see that they're doing what they want to do anyway. Right. And like you said, it's also, it just doesn't show you who people are. You don't know who people are. Like, I spent so much of my youth, I'm still young actually, but my younger youth, playing this role, because that's who I thought I really was, of the girl that only dates. Right now I'm trying to date and I still can't even date. So this is the problem. Maybe dating is just not for me in general. But I would spend so much of my time only I wouldn't date, but then if I did date, I'd spend all my eggs would be on this person, Yeah.
Likewise.
And now I'm like, why though? Why is that? What does that teach you about relationships? What does that teach you about
how
people?
Are you meeting other people?
It doesn't. He's out there sowing
now
his
you don't fell in love with
somebody.
somebody. You just dating his ass. You done fell in love
because
with him
you're putting all your attention on him.
All your attention.
And it's all your attention on him, so you don't even know what you like. You're not seeing different things. And then it's down to this whole possession again. You're giving him. We love to do that. We love to give them domination over us. He's my man. I belong to him. You're the one I'm talking to. We love to say that, but no, baby girl.
They love it too.
No, why not explore? Why shouldn't you? You can't expect. I never expect one person to give me everything that I need now. I never used to think like this. Of course, I used to think that I could get everything from one person. But now I know that they can't. Like even me in my self-love and the way I love myself, I collect all the things that I need from outside. You know, my interactions with people, it is, I collect different things from different people to feed my soul and to feed my self-love. Like I'm giving it to myself, but it's through interactions with things and people. So how can I expect that another person now will now be everything for me and will give me everything that I need? It doesn't make sense. Like it really doesn't make sense at all. And I think it's just way too much pressure to put on somebody. You know, I might be dating this person. Like one of my favorite movies, honestly, I watched it last year. I always talk about it with so much joy and love in my heart.
Which one?
Because it was like a changer for me. Spike Lee, his very first movie. I think it was his first movie, right? And it's about Nola Darling. And God, Nola Darling, there's also a series on Netflix. The series is great too. I love that. But the movie itself was black and white. And it was I think it was set in the 80s. Was it 80s? Or the 70s? 80s, I think. Yeah. And it was such a powerful movie for me because it showed a young black woman, right? Dating, actively, openly dating multiple men, 3 different men she was dating. And they were all aware of each other. She never hid it. And she would tell all of them, yeah, I'm dating you and I'm dating you. And they would try to lock her down to make it exclusive. And she would say no. In fact, the most iconic scene in the movie for me, she has Thanksgiving dinner. And to dinner, she invites the 3 of them. It's actually called She's Got to Have It, guys. Sorry, by Spike Lee. She's Got to Have It. So there's a Netflix series and there's an actual movie. But in the scene, right, she invites them all to Thanksgiving dinner. Oh my, it was the bossiest scene known to man. She invites them all to Thanksgiving and they'd be so mad. And they're like, and this is how I knew. And she gave me such a confidence watching that. And she invited them all to Thanksgiving dinner and they all came. And they were all pissed about it. And they were like, why? And she's like, I'm seeing both of you. And all 3 of them sat there and all 3 of them were fighting for her attention.
Exactly.
Even though they were all before saying, no, let's do this. She's do this, she's do that. Her being herself was so endearing and enticing to them. They couldn't help it. And it just literally shows that people are going to take you as you bring yourself. Do you know what I mean? So if you tell them, listen, this is what I want to do. You either step in line, get in line, or you can go.
Yeah.
Then those who are for you are for you. So literally when I saw that movie, I was like, wow, how empowering. Oh my, remember I said, I'm going to have 3 boyfriends.
Girl, it's nice. I'm telling you.
I said,
and let them all know about each other.
And they were so mad. They try and get her to get rid of the other one. And she was like, no, I'm not getting rid of it. I like this one because this one made her laugh. This one gave her intelligent conversations. This one helped her financially. She had different things for all of them. And she liked all of them too for the things that they brought because this one couldn't bring what the other one was bringing. You're allowed to do that. Why are we told that we're not supposed to do that? And if you do that, you're a bad person.
Right.
Like,
I mean, men do it.
Men do
it and men enjoy their life. You have the one at home that does this. You have the one over here that does this, the one over here that does this. Like you get to reap those kind of benefits and enjoy your life and be free like that. Like women should really honestly like, and if you are looking for somebody to deal with in a monogamous way, you still should take your time and get to know multiple people so that you can see who really is for you. Girl, let them line up and fight for you and may the odds be ever in their favor.
What country did they do that in? Wait, what's the name of that country? Is it in Kenya or Ethiopia? I think there is a group, right, where the women
I remember. I forget where it was. Yeah.
And the men get pretty, they wear makeup, eyeliner, they do their hair nice, and they start to perform for the woman. And she gets to choose which one she wants. They're all performing and trying to fight for her heart. Like that's how it's supposed to be. Like
that is how it's supposed to be.
I mean, it's let the best man win, like you said. If that's what you want. You want to do monogamy, fine, but just don't just let you meet one person and he says a few nice things to you and it's okay, because now you don't know him. Yeah. And then you're giving him your heart too quickly. They get way too comfortable.
And then they start getting on your nerves and there's little things they already do and you just deal with it. You can't speak freely. You can't dress this way. You can't have certain friends. You can't go certain places. Like he starts restricting your life. Like, boy, bye. Like,
and a lot of us, we like the restriction. You know, I remember I remember telling you even. Do you remember when I was dating that one the one that I dated before in Abuja years ago. In fact, that's actually my last. I had a relationship after that, but that one doesn't really count because it wasn't that long. But that was like my last relationship, really, years ago. God, and I remember, now I remember asking him. We were meant to go somewhere. Do you remember we were going somewhere? And I was like, "Oh, should I go? I want to go here. Should I go?" And he was real chill. He was just like, "Yeah, I mean, if you want to go, you can do what you like." And I remember being offended.
Yeah.
I was like,
tell me no.
He doesn't care about me. Tell me no. Yeah. Why would you tell me do what you like?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of a thing is that? I'm like, he could care less about my ass. Yeah. The toxicity. Yeah. Because I believe that, controlling me in that way showed that you cared about me.
Or
that
jealousy.
Is not care.
Yeah, jealousy, all of that.
Yeah, or jealousy, all of that shows that he cares. But that is not care. That is not love. That is literally just control and oppression.
It is,
and society likes to spin that off as that's care and that's love, but it's not care.
Yeah.
It's not love. Like, you are not a child, and even children don't need to be, but you're not a child or someone who can't think straight that needs to be controlled and needs to be tamed and needs to be oppressed. You are a full-grown human being.
As soon as I feel that energy now, like I'm running.
Me too.
Let me tell you,
don't
I don't like
me.
Every guy I've been with has been insecure and extremely controlling. None of them have wanted me to have opposite sex friends. None of them have wanted me to really have, certain relationships with my own friends.
Yeah.
Like they just get really oppressive and really controlling. Meanwhile, they do what they like. They do what they like, girl. They just living their life and just controlling me. Life.
Have so many female friends, have male friends, like are free.
Girl,
but then you're over here oppressed out of your soul and oppressed out of your mind.
Girl, can't even be on the phone in their presence without them feeling away. Yeah, they just want you off the phone. They just want your attention. Yeah. They can be on the phone though.
They will be on the phone having long ass conversations, but don't you dare get on the phone.
No, I don't need to be on the phone. There's a conversation I got in with a guy. And we are talking about the fact that most marriages, especially in our community, fail, right?
Right.
But a lot of the marriages, the majority of the marriages, actually, the divorces are being filed by women. And the guy's point was, well, it's not us. It's you guys that don't want to be in a relationship because you all are filing for divorce more than men. And based on statistics, at least. And then he goes on to say, well, so what I think it is women are getting in relationships and marriages and they're realizing that it's actually work. They want the ring and they want the wedding, but they don't want the work that it takes to.
What work?
And I've heard that line of thinking before.
Slave and cook.
But girl, I've heard that line of thinking, but when he said that, I said, it's funny that your brain reasons like that. It's funny that your brain saw that women are filing for divorce more. And you think it's because they got in a relationship and they weren't willing to do the work. And it's not that you all don't want to get married. It's us not wanting to get married. I'm like, why wouldn't you reason?
She didn't leave because of oppression or anything like that. It's literally because.
Why wouldn't your brain go, if women they want to get married so bad, we're groomed to want to get married. And then they get into this wedding, they have the wedding, they get married, and they get into the situation. And now in groves, women are like leading the divorce filing. You don't look at that like, well, something is going wrong. We're doing something wrong because they're running away from us.
Because they're doing something. Because to them, that oppression is the definition and the staple of marriage. Women are supposed to endure, remember? We are supposed to deal with the oppression, and we're meant to be their cooks and their slaves and the cheating.
You're supposed to be serving
them.
You're supposed to be in the house. And you're not supposed to be in the streets anymore. Nobody should see you. You should be covered up from neck to toes.
Yeah. You should. And on top of that, they want 50-50 as well.
Yeah. You need to be paying half the bills now. You definitely be. But you need to take care of the kids, and you need to be serving me, and you need to be bouncing on top of me like a dancer. And you need to be, you need
cooking
to be
and
doing all
cleaning.
These
make sure the house is spotless. Make sure that the food ready for me all the time. Give
women
me emotional support.
Women are getting into these marriages and realizing that it's not 50-50. In fact, this woman does not. You want her to work and pay half the bills. But let me tell you, without her going to work and paying half the bills, it's still not 50-50. If she is taking care of your kids, if she's taking care of your raggedy ass, if she is cooking and cleaning your house for you day in and day out, if you were to monetize those things, you could not afford her. Okay. You could not afford her. You cannot afford the services that you are getting for free. And why is it that you men like to compare relationships to back in the day when women had no other option but to do those things? And you say you want a woman to be a representation of what those women were when those women were miserable. They were sitting there being beat on, cheated on, and serving a man that treated them like they were worthless. And you want that because that is what a real woman is supposed to do. And that's what marriage looks like to you. It's because you all do not see women as your equal. You do not see them as human beings. You see them as cute things that you can sleep with that should be serving you day in and day out. You do not feel like you are supposed to take care of your children. You do not feel like you're supposed to be giving baths and doing hair and getting up in the middle of the night. You don't even feel like you're supposed to be paying child support. You don't feel like you're supposed to be cooking. You think that it is her obligation that she should now go out and work full time and pay off the bills and come home while you put your little funky feet up, and she should now go in that kitchen and continue to cook. You do not want her to ever clock out. Even women that stay home, you do not get to clock out of that job. Yeah. You are working around the clock. He comes home, puts his feet up, and you are still working. So that's the institution that they want. Now, if you're talking about a person that sees a woman as a human being and a woman has found a man that sees her as a human being, and these two people spiritually have decided that they want to be with each other and they see each other as equals and they see the value that each other has, and he's serving her and she's serving him and they're taking care of each other. He's like, babe, I'm cooking tonight. It's not that we're not doing things in our relationship based on the sex that we have. Like, you a woman, so you're doing this, and I'm the man, I'm doing this. Right. It's right. The things that I'm strong in or the things that I enjoy to do. I enjoy cooking, and I'm the man, and I'm a cook for my woman because I like to cook. I'm a man and I'm clean, so I'm cleaning up, and I'm not her child, so she's not cleaning up after me. I enjoy her and her company. We don't even have to be living together. I enjoy her company, so I want to just enjoy her. Men do not look at relationships like that. They look at it like, oh, she's bad. I want her in the house serving me. Let me go on and impress the hell out of her. A silent she can, puppy. Girl, just be silent. Girl is crazy.
I wouldn't even at this stage in my life as well. Like, it's interesting when I hear people talk about what they want in a man, if you were looking for one. But like, to me, when men do all of that. If a man asks me, can I cook? It makes me sick. You're not the kind of man for me. Like, stay away from me. I don't even have those kind of conversations. I'm really I'm not looking for, but if I was to consider, it would be the divine masculine. Like, if a man cannot cook for himself,
that's a red flag.
I'm turned off. Yeah, you can't be for me. If a man cannot clean, if a man is not clean, if he does not know how to look after his environment, like, that is a turn off for me, because cleanliness is next to godliness, and I like my space is neat and tidy. So you as a man, I like to look at that. I want to make sure that you are well groomed, even your nails and your feet. Yeah. Let me see. Make sure you got a pedicure. Like, some men never get pedicures, and they say it's feminine. Literally, they say that it's feminine. Yeah, like, to get a pedicure, and I'm like, oh my days, I could never. That's a red flag for me. I know it's like a physical appearance thing, but absolutely not, because you need to be clean. Like, period. I cannot deal with a man that cannot cook and a man that cannot clean. Right? Like, absolutely not. That means you're half baked, and I hate using that term, but you're half baked. Period. Because you don't know how to look after yourself. That's the very basic amenities. You think that it's now my responsibility, my jigger. Let me tell you something. I will not be the one doing it. I will not clean after no man. I guarantee you. And if I cook, Allah, you are lucky. If I cook, you're very lucky. Like, in a relationship, I'm serious.
It's because you was already cooking. It's because you were already going to make this dish. You can now have a piece of it because you can have some of it, right?
But it's for me to be sitting down and say, baby, let me make you something to eat. It's not going to happen. And if that's, I really don't care. And I know some females say that. I have some friends who say it, and it's the same thing that when I posted the bingo, the internalized misogyny bingo that the lady on Instagram today, because it was powerful. On there, she says, when women say, I just love to cook and clean. I have friends who say that. And it's like, yeah, I get that you say you love to cook and clean, right? But you don't
like, do you do it for a living? Like, do you love it that much?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, that's, and they're like, yeah, but that's how I show love. And I'm like, yeah, you're saying that, but you don't see that is your grooming. Yeah. Because everybody, like, some people love to cook and clean, yes, but they're chefs and stuff, right? Chefs get paid. Yeah. Cleaners get paid.
Cleaning services. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stuff, because that's still chores, that's domestication. It's like, so you're saying I want to do this for this person, but that's only because you've been heralded for that. And I know that men probably praise you when you do that. Other women praise you when you do that. So you've now realized that when you do that, you get a good response from it. So you're like, I love doing it. Yeah, pick me, it's sleek. So you're like, oh, I love that vibe. So I like doing it. I just love to do it. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you really going into the root cause of this?
Do you?
Because absolutely not. No, if a man can't cook and clean, in fact, I told you,
you know how they like to interview when you meet them?
They do interview
you. Cook? What kind of dishes you make? Girl, bye. That's how them questions got to be when you meet them. Before you even get my number, do you cook? You clean? What you do?
Right. What do you do? I went to the foreign exchange guy months back, and his brother was there, and he said to me, the first thing he said to me was just beyond me, and he was, oh, hi, da-da-da. Then he goes, so do you cook? No, he goes to me, can you cook? Can you make? It was such a random off-topic question as well, because I just came to change money. Like, I don't know what you're asking me dumb questions for. And he goes, can you make pounded yam? And pounded yam is something that they like to use as a way to suffer women in Nigeria, because pounded yam is like you boil the yam and then you pound it with a mortar and a pestle. So it's hard work, it's very hard work. That's how you make pounded yam.
It sounds like something a man should be doing.
Thank you.
Strength. All their muscles. Yeah.
Right. But it's women. We're the ones that are the pestle pounders. So when he asked that, I looked at him, and obviously I do make pounded yam, and I do make it in that way, right?
I'd say, no, I eat it though. Do you make it?
Because literally. So I literally was like, yeah. I said, yeah, I pound yam because I love to eat pounded yam, so I pound my yam. He goes, oh, so would you pound yam for your husband then? Would you cook for? And I said, no. Literally, I said to him, and why would that even be the next? First of all, why are you asking me if I pound yam? So that me now being able to pound yam is shows that I'm a good girl. Because I think he was slick expecting me to say no. But the truth is, I wanted to say no too, but the truth is I actually do, because I pound it for my goddamn self. And then he goes, so do you, he goes, oh, so would you pound it for your husband? I said, no. I said, I'm not cooking. He goes, yeah, but no, this is now when he wanted to be reasonable. He goes, oh, yeah, but no, we can do 50-50. I said, I don't want to do 50-50. There's plenty of women now who don't do 50-50. How many women now do 50-50 in cooking and cleaning? So when I have a partner, I now want 50-50. You can be the blood clot cook. And if you have a problem with me being your cook here, then you can get the hell out of you being my cook and cooking for me. You can get out of my face.
Right.
Because if I was going to tell you that I was going to cook for you, you'd be happy. You wouldn't tell me, no, baby, don't. Let's get a chef. If that's the kind of person you are, fine, cool. But oftentimes, if I'm telling you I'm a cook for you, you're not saying 50-50.
Yeah.
You're happy. But now I'm telling you, no, you cook, and you're saying, well, no, we can cook for each other. No, I will not cook. You can serve me.
Yeah.
Women serve men all the time, right?
Yeah.
So why can't you serve me?
Why can't you be cooking and cleaning?
Yeah, you cook and clean.
I'm making money.
Why not? Yeah. You cook and clean.
Yeah.
Even if we're both making money, I don't care. Both women make money. Women and men make money, and women still come and cook and clean. Yeah. You will cook and clean. And if you have such a huge problem with that, brother, stay away from me then.
Yeah.
Because it's good for me. What's good for the goose? It's not good for the gander. No, absolutely not. I don't care. Like, you must be able to cook and clean. It's the bare minimum as far as
I can't lie. I dated one guy, and I dated a couple of guys that cooked, but I dated one guy in particular. Most of their asses didn't cook. They want to be served, but
they want to be served. I'm telling you.
But I dated one guy in the past that cooked, and he cooked his ass off, and I enjoyed
cooking
it.
Ass.
And it's funny because I had a taste of that. I had a taste of that because my dad was a cooker. My dad always cooked.
I remember you said, yeah.
Girl, he used to cook something serious. And, back when I was eating meats and stuff, he would like have people that he bought his stuff from specifically.
Yeah.
He'd be like, what you want? You want some salmon? You want some steak, or you want some chicken? I'm like, I want all of it if you cooking. Those are always my words. I'm like, I want it all. And girl, he would cook me up something serious all the time. So I used to love that. So it was something that I was I don't want to say used to or appreciative of, because I still knew that men expected you to cook. But I used to proudly, when I was younger, say that I do not cook. And I remember getting into debates with people. I remember getting into a debate at my school. I went to SAE for audio engineering. I remember it was all guys that went to the school. It was maybe like another girl or two, but it was like all guys. And we were in the break room and we were eating our lunch, and they were talking about women that cook. And I was like, I don't cook. And they're like, you don't cook, but what about your man? I'm like,
I remember you saying that when we first met.
If I'm like, I'm like, if I meet a guy, he's gonna be cooking for me. And they're like, well, but who gonna want to marry you? A man want a woman that's gonna cook. And right then, one of the professors walked in, and he was trying to figure out what the debate was about. So we told them, and they were like, she said that she ain't gonna cook. Even if she get a man one day, she ain't gonna cook for him. And I said, no, because if I meet a man, he's gonna cook. And he said, you know what? He said, I cook. I do a lot of cooking. He said, but my favorite thing is that my wife does. Like my favorite thing that she makes or something, he said. I was like, what? Everybody was like, what? And they were so ready for him to be the man and be on their side. And he was like, reservations. He said, she makes wonderful reservations. He was like, and I cook. And I was like, thank you. Thank you, God. Girl. I was so happy because I used to beat my chest proudly about that when I was younger. Now being plant-based and having kids, I'm a lot more into cooking and making certain things and just, being conscious of what's in my food and stuff. But when I was younger, girl, I did not care. Like, you cooking for me, I ain't cooking.
Right. But they don't ever. They always. I remember like one of my exes, and he used to cook. A lot of them know how to cook. They just don't really like to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they be cooking really well.
Yeah, they do.
And I used to make. There's a few of them that used to cook for me, Sha. And one of them, I'd always make him like. I remember like a few times I make him breakfast in bed, and then he'd have to make me breakfast in bed, and then he'd make me like noodles and stuff. He cooked a lot better than me at that time, right?
Yeah.
And I remember him moaning about it, and when we got older, we weren't even together anymore. I remember him saying to me, and he was cooking, and obviously I'm chilling. And then he was like, you know what, Tess, the thing is, like, I'm not going to cook for my girl for the rest of her life. No, I want to come home from work and I want her to cook. Like, she needs to cook as well, I need her to cook sometimes. I was just looking at him. If you like scream from now to next year, I'm not cooking.
Add a little more pepper and salt to my food and bring me my plate. Boy, bring me my plate and smiling. Go give me a kiss and bring my plate. And fill up my glass while you're at it.
He was so bad. I'm telling you, he was on the stove moaning. He was on the stove cooking.
Look, don't be over there complaining so much you burn my food. Pay attention to what you're doing over there.
Like, I said, boy, but I don't care. He was
they look good in the kitchen anyway. You know how they like to say dumb things. I remember one of my ex's dumb friends. I don't know if I said it before or not, but he said this stupid misogynistic joke. Pisses me off. But he was like, I never buy my women watches. You know why? And he's like,
so dumb.
He's like, because there's a clock on the stove.
Idiot.
Girl. So stupid, so ignorant.
Dumb.
You know what? So honestly, dumb. Just so dumb. So he means it. The thing is, though, they really look good in the kitchen. Men, it looks good on you. In fact, put an apron on. You don't have to wear nothing else.
Take your shirt off.
Just put the apron on and just go in the kitchen and cook. It looks so masculine. It looks like the perfect balance in masculine and feminine. Watching them in there, adding a little seasoning. Yeah. In fact, put some music on and dance while you're doing it.
It does. I love it, man. I think it puts you on a different level as far as I'm concerned. It's very sexy. It does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know how to throw it down. Like, because again, to me, it's down to your certain level of intelligence as well. You know how to, because you're in the kitchen and you're putting it together. Well, thank God.
Plus, imagine if you're not feeling good. Maybe I'm not feeling good. See, they expect you when you're sick to still be serving them. But imagine you're not feeling good and the man know how to whip it up in the kitchen. He come and make you some soup, some homemade fresh
I'm telling
soup.
You.
Oh, girl.
There you go, babes. Oh. And one that can actually really cook as well, because some of them cannot cook to save their lives, but they're like saying that I've been chefing it up, and I'm like,
because they don't ever practice. It's like they don't ever practice. That's why.
I saw another one post the other day. I was shocked. I looked at him and I was like, God. He posted on Instagram his food, bland ass food looking thing, but then he posted it and then he said, "Sorry, my bad. Let me not say it was bland ass. He was trying, but he posted his food, and then you know what he said? I just was like, his caption was like, "Oh my God, I'm getting really good at this now. Gosh, like I'm not gonna need a wife soon, or what's my wife gonna do?"
Right, because that's all that we're in for, of course.
That is all her work is to do for God. He's not married, by the way. This is his future wife. Yeah. So because now you have learned to cook.
Yeah. What use do I have for her? I mean, I guess I can get sex from her.
Yeah, but damn.
But what else is she gonna do?
Just like, and women just be loving it. I just want to cater to my man. I just want to let me cater to you. I mean, nobody says you shouldn't cater. Yeah, but
want to be loved so bad. Just looking for anybody to serve to make them happy, so they can choose us.
so they can choose you. Well, you don't know, you got to serve
girl, they
yourself.
choose you regardless. When you put your foot down and you set your standards and you set those boundaries and you say, no, you need to be cooking, boy, you need to be cleaning, you need to be throwing it down, you need to be doing all these things.
If he wants you, and if he doesn't want you, you can go to hell.
Into what
Trust
it is
me.
that you want.
Oh, I promise you. Guarantee you.
And
do you know how many men?
And them be the best ones too. See, when we just taking any and everything and trying to fit into their standards, you know, you get these trash ones that know you just really want to be chosen. So they just treat you like hell. Them be the ones like from the last episode. Them be the gay ones. But when you put your foot down, you get to sift through the trash and really find somebody that has a lot more balance and they've done a lot more inner work, because they realize that they need to know how to do something as basic as feed themselves. Like they need to know how to cook. They need to know how to clean.
And they know that that's not your role. They're not looking at you to do that for them.
They see you for what it is that you do. Girl, maybe you have your business, or maybe you're trying to start a business, or maybe it's something that you're passionate about. They see you and appreciate you and your value for what it is that you are and what you do. And they don't hold you to the standard that your value lies in what you do for them.
I swear.
That's how you sift through those type of men and find the type of man that you want. Girl, date. The point is date multiple men.
Yeah, it's very important. That is literally that's literally the point.
Date a few of them.
Don't feel pressured to only talk to the one person so that he chooses you and it shows you're a good girl. And I know a lot of us have the mentality like, I just can't do it. I used to say that too. I just can't do it. You know, I just have to focus on one. And this does not even mean to lay with them all. That's not even our advice, because again, sex is very sacred. And we should just be careful about just giving it to any of them anyhow, just because really they're not worthy, you know. And oftentimes when you're sleeping with these men who don't actually respect you, they end up leaving these horrible energies inside you that affect you and your self-esteem and your confidence and in just your energy in general. So like, date around though, you know. Don't have to sleep with them, but yeah, you know, if you're dating one guy and another guy looks nice and you want to talk to him, you want to get to know him, date him too. You know, you might only ever have 1 date or 2 dates with him. That's what happens with me. People normally, it's very rare to get a second date with me. God, it is so rare, but give it a go, you know.
That's because you on goddess level. You spot all the issues immediately. Like, next.
Boy, bye.
That's the goal,
They can't stand my ass, girl. They be sick of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's important.
It is important. I want to add to that, to your point. Like, not only should you date multiple people, but like everybody has to define for them what it is that they want, right? Yeah. I want to be free. So I know that what I want might not align for everybody, but if you are somebody who wants to be in a marriage, and you're talking about legal issues, you're talking about for life, quote unquote, if that's what you want to do. But whatever it is that you're trying to define for yourself, make sure you give yourself the best opportunity to have the highest experience of that. Don't settle. Don't just be with somebody because it's the first person that chose you, the first person that popped out a ring. Girl, don't you know what you're worth? Don't you know how valuable you are? Don't you know how phenomenal you are? And if you don't, go and figure that out. And once you figure that out, you start calling them and calling they BS. Like when you see little things that don't align with you and your beliefs, and little things that rub you the wrong way, and they stressing you out in little ways, but you think that you like them because of these other couple things, girl, you need to keep dating and you need to enjoy yourself. Because then maybe because you've dated multiple people and you've gotten to know not only who you are, but you can see in other people what doesn't align with who you are and who you're becoming, you will find something that aligns with you eventually. And you can now go into a situation feeling a lot more confident and
more like yourself, you know,
and more like yourself, not controlled and not confined.
You have the best experience.
Yes, man.
You know, and like, it's true, like you said, it's important. If you do want to have that marriage experience, you know, then don't settle for the bullshit, because it's for life. Honestly, if you're going to do it for life, and even if it, you know, it's just, and it's something that you're with this person essentially 24/7, you're sharing and building a life with them. So don't let society like blindside you into an oppressive, unhappy situation, you know, just for the sake of it, just for the sake of marriage, just for the sake of monogamy, you know, and just so that you are a missus, now you're more valuable, because they like to say that a woman is not valuable unless she has a man attached to her. So just make sure that you're having the best experience, because you are valid. What you want is valid. You know, you want to be in a relationship, like you said, you want your man to cook and clean. You'll find a man that cooks and cleans. Trust me, you will find a husband. There are men out there who cook and clean for their wives.
Period.
Do you know what I mean? There are men out there, you know, although they're rare, who respect their wives and uplift their wives and don't cheat on their wives and don't emotionally abuse them, you know? So if you're going to go into that monogamous marriage situation, like Jazz said, make sure it's the best situation for you. You do not have to settle. If you find yourself settling, let me tell you something, it's so much better to be alone. I know, like, people are so scared of it, but I just could never comprehend. It is so much better to be alone, loving on yourself. Like, if you feel avoiding, you don't want to be alone, you have to ask yourself, what's the problem? You know, this love that I'm searching outside to give to other people, let me give it to myself. Let me take care of myself, you know. Let me tell myself sweet words. Let me take myself on holiday. Let me take myself on dates. Let me take myself to dinner. Let me look after my body. Let me care about myself in the way in which I wanted someone else to care about me, you know. And then that way you're very content in your space and in your environment. And when someone else comes, they have to add to you. And if they're not adding to you, then you are comfortable letting them go, because you know that you deserve so much more. Nobody should come into your life and make it worse. Nobody should come into your life and make you more sad and more upset and more insecure than when you were on your own. Don't let society deceive you that it's better to be with somebody that does that, somebody that you can't even speak to. You know, you're scared if you have a conversation with them, they'll get angry and aggressive, you know? Right. Like, that is no way to live your life. You deserve so much more, you know? Like, there's so many things that society tells us we have to settle for, but you do not have to settle. Why? Because if you're on your own, being on your own is such a bad thing that you'd rather be in an abusive situation or in a situation that doesn't actually add to you. How much does the situation add to you? How much does this person add to you? You know, you just end up being burdened with them. And oftentimes as well with women, apart from the physical things that we do, the cooking, the cleaning, you know, the standing up for them in restaurants and all handling all their businesses, we're also their emotional crutch. And it can be so draining. Like, we're a huge emotional crutch for them. Like, you know, they talk about, even when a man is sick, they call it man flu, just a cold, because we suffer the cold too, but you guys are so weak and complain and whiny things. You call it the man flu because it's like, oh my God, I'm dying. We are dying too, but you see how we stand up straight and we move anyway.
And serve them.
And then serve you in the same situation. Like, you do not, we carry a lot of the emotional needs and we end up babying them. Like, when they're having a bad day, you know, like, I had a bad day at work. Okay, so now you're like walking on eggshells, like, oh my God, okay, so what's the problem? You now become their therapist, you know, you're all of these things to them. Are they doing the same for you? Do they align with your values? And if they don't, then please, baby girl, it's not worth it. Go marry them now and be stuck in a crazy or situation with them, you know, like a sad, loveless marriage. Because you wanted to get married so badly and you needed to unionize with someone. It's okay. It's okay to be alone, you know. It's not crime. It's not
and
crime.
If you're struggling with that, then you need to work on your self-love. If you're not happy alone and you're yearning very badly to be in a relationship, then you might want to go back and listen to episode 9, self-love.
Self-love. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, ladies, this has been beautiful. I just want to let you all know that define for yourself what your relationship should look like, whether that is monogamous or polyamorous, ladies. I do advise you, though, to date multiple men, girl. Figure out what you like. How you supposed to know what you like if all your eggs in one basket? And ladies, it is important. It is important.
Yeah, it's very important.
But it's been real, ladies. As always, you know, you can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at the POW Podcast. And until next time,
we shall see you next time. Bye.